before we had Nuvue, we had no idea what people were looking at and what they weren't looking at. So when we started to, embark and utilize Nuvue, what was really instrumental is that we have a whole product team, right? So we have a whole product team, and now we also have a content team. So now we're able to look at the data, which drives us to say, hey, look, you know what? We've recognized we probably only need a good 8 to 10 BNAs that are core to Cartessa to launch, because they're not using many more than those, because they like to have their own information on their BNAs. But then maybe what we're recognizing is they need more assets with regard to like copy doc for websites. And so maybe what we need to do is every 3 to 6 months, we should be retouching that, updating our hashtags, giving them more content that's really going to help them pull through on the social side, because that's one of the biggest struggles that a lot of our practices have is, let's take social media, for instance. They're like, ugh, I don't have time. I don't know where to start. I start to craft something. I don't know which hashtags. So if we know and we can see that they're hitting those documents on a regular basis, then we know that, hey, we should be paying a little bit more attention to this, because we want to make sure that we're giving them the content that they're consuming versus the content that they're not consuming.
Yeah, and that's a really a good way to position it. And as a real-time example, this is interesting to me. On the analytics side, I'm in here and I'm looking at the data for the last month, and I can see that your VirtuRF pricing recommendation had almost 1,100 views. So what does information like that tell you?
So that's really helpful to see that number, but then that also tells us that there might be a lot of questions around pricing, and or they're revisiting their pricing on a regular basis, or maybe they're expanding and they've got new team members coming into their practice, and so now they're going in and they're familiarizing themselves with that same information that's helpful to making sure that that virtue is operating at its optimal potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just a follow-up question to that. As I sort through the social posts that you're providing to this particular practice or to your practices, as I scroll through this, I notice numbers that are low, right? You've got one post here that's got 13 views, another that's got 10, and then we switch over to ones like this that are BNA focused that have 234, 139. This is only for a month, by the way, 146. So if I'm looking at this, and tell me if I'm crazy, but I'm looking at these social posts and saying, all right, my clients are resonating with the ones that are actually showing results, and which makes sense because that's probably what they're using to market their product themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would tell us, okay, let's go get more great BNAs that they can use, because they, a lot of them will understand too that that's what's getting engagement on their feeds. So then they're going to come back in and find more that they can utilize.